in progress.
All right. I'd like to call Wednesday, February 25th Town Board meeting to order. Lieutenant Dorados, can you lead us in the pledge, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I have a relatively short supervisor's report tonight. Was at the food pantry today. We had 5 new families for a total of 30 families that we served today. In addition to that, our e-waste recycling program, we took in 4,965 pounds of e-waste, which are computers, computer monitors, televisions. That's really all I have for the supervisor's report. We have Ken Ellsworth, our town engineer, here for a progress report. So Ken, take it away.
Oh, okay, thank you. So I have a list of projects that we have underway at various states of design. Some are completed design. We'll be going out to bid, we assume. So I'll go through the list, and then if you have questions after, certainly ask me questions. I think the takeaway for you guys would be the number of projects that we have currently underway, and also the understanding that not only the staff that you have, the department heads that you have, and their knowledge of the systems has been hugely beneficial to getting these design projects off the ground and understanding the system so we can get some of the repairs corrected. So I'll start with the sewer system. As you know, Delaware Engineering is doing the projects for the sewer system, and the biggest one that we have is the South Fallsburg wastewater treatment plant, which I think most of you are aware of. I won't go into a lot of detail. We have the electrical portion of that project underway now. Always looking for funding. We've had numerous meetings with funding agencies, and we'll continue to do so. And that project will keep moving forward. And that was the result of a couple different issues with EPA and violations, and also the capacity of the plant. We also have Mountaindale wastewater treatment plant. There's an engineering study that's currently underway. The purpose of that is that we have some issues with effluent for Mountaindale wastewater treatment plant also from DEC, and we've completed a survey on the fields. There's 2 fields that they wanted some work done on. We've done some work on it. We'll continue the work in the spring. And we had to do some survey to show where the work had to be and how much fill we needed, and we'll get that portion of it probably this spring. Will be finished, early summer will be finished. Delaware is doing a study so that we can understand what's happening in that area of service area, how much more flow we need to take into account. We'll eventually end up with a different treatment system up there. It's a lagoon. Lagoons are very helpful for us for the summer occupants and the increase in flow, but they're not conducive for new treatment limits from the DEC. So eventually we will be pushed towards another treatment plant for Mountaindale. We have, Delaware also has on the shelf a design for the pump station, that most of the effluent goes to this pump station and pumped to the treatment plant. That has been completed. It's on the shelf ready to implement when everything else comes into place. Davos, you know that we have a portion of our project that goes to Woodridge, and it's fairly expensive. So currently we are There's two projects that are in the area. We just started conversations with the developers to try to figure out if there is a private-public partnership that could be developed for a treatment plant that would not only help the town and pull possibly our flow from Woodridge, and also help them with their projects, and have one treatment plant as opposed to a potential of three. We think that's a good idea. The public-private partnership has been successful on one other project that's currently underway, and we are having agreement for a second, which I'll get to in a minute. So I think that'll help that area. As you know, we have the Avon wastewater treatment plant up there that has been dormant for a while because of the amount of repairs that were required for that. So that's been on the standstill. We have improvements to pump stations. The New Hope pump station, which is on Route 52, is going to be repaired this spring, and currently the College Ave pump station is also being repaired by summer. That will be repaired. Constantly looking at that information. We completed a study on I&I in the Laurel Ave area. That's some of our oldest lines. That study came out really well. We identified areas where we have some breaks in the lines. We had some damaged lines. We smoke tested the lines so we know where there are some stormwater drains that are going into our lines that create additional flow for our treatment plant. The next thing that will happen there is we'll end up developing projects in that area to replace or line some of the pipe, also line some of the manholes. One of the wins for the town that we had, which was a win for the developers as well as Laurels of Fallsburg, replaced about 1,135 feet of clay tile sewer pipe that was in damage and leaking in one of the lowest areas that we have. So they needed to tie into that sewer system, but we arranged to deal with them to replace some of that line. It's going to go from 8-inch to 12-inch pipe because it's relatively flat, and we won't have so much I&I coming from that section as well. So that's been a win for the town. We're replacing a force main on Echo Lake that is in need of repair. And then shortly we will start another I&I study for the Loch Sheldrake wastewater treatment plant service area, because we still have large rain events that cause us inflow into Loch Sheldrake. So that's kind of the general part of the sewer. The water is much more extensive. I'll go a little bit faster to try to get you through your meeting here. We have a number of water line replacement projects that are in currently with DOH review. We have a Lake Street water line replacement. We have Route 42 water line replacement, which generally goes from Laurel Ave all the way to the well houses, which are well houses 6, 7, and 8. And then we have Stewart's to Riverside Drive. So those are almost 25,000 feet of pipe. We have a replacement project on Maple Street for water line. Currently, and the reason why we have these water line replacement projects, I think you all understand that we have an issue with not so much water quantity getting out of the ground, but getting it from one end of the town to the other. Our lines are small, the demand is much larger now, and so the 8-inch lines for these water line projects on 42 especially is gonna go from an 8-inch line to a 12-inch line. That reduces the pressure that's in those lines, and will allow us to pump more water from one side of town to the other, allow our tanks to operate more effectively and efficiently. I think will help us in our goal to provide better water service on the south side of town as We're also looking for more supplies, so we have a project in Loch Sheldrake, well 1B. It's a new well that we drilled, has a good potential yield for 100 gallons per minute, which is 144,000 gallons per day of additional flow that will be able to go directly to the Loch Sheldrake area, because that's where we have our current shortage, more prominent shortage. So that's underway. One of the public-private partnerships we have is Hayden Road wells. Those wells were for a project that they generate over 100 gallons per minute as well. The reason for that is we have very few wells on that side of town, so that will help us directly feed the La Vista tanks, which was the tanks that struggled the most during the summer, where we ran short of water. So we developed those wells. It's a lot shorter to pump from those wells to the tanks than it was from the well field in the north. We also are exploring a project that was called the Club at Bray. They supposedly had a well that tested very high. We'll be doing some exploratory investigations on that well. That well will also be able to go directly to the Loch Sheldrake area. We are investigating the Formaggio well that's been on the books for quite a while to try to figure out how we can pump our well number 2, along with him being able to achieve the amount of flow that he needs for his expansion and his project. We're very optimistic that that will prove to be beneficial, and we'll be able to turn that well back on to a higher capacity than what we currently have, again, servicing the Loch Sheldrake area. There's a chlorine contact line on Riverside Drive that is too large due to the demand that's currently in that area. We're resizing that line so that we can turn on the Riverside Drive pump and be a little bit more effective in that area. We have a water line that's on the Woodburn Bridge that they're building now that gives us some redundancy for the line that goes under the river. So that it's been under the river for a while, so we didn't know if that, when it broke, we would end up with no flow across that area. So now with that redundancy, we'll have a bigger line across the bridge. We have water meters that we're looking to get in place, looking for funding for that. We had a decent phone call with agencies. We think we may qualify for a certain section to replace the water meters that are no longer being serviced by the manufacturer. We do leak detection every year. We'll do more leak detection come spring when the weather breaks a little bit more. We will end up with another tank. Timber Ridge is a project that is coming. So we'll end up with another tank because working with them, they need their own tank. We'll take advantage of that and have an additional water supply for the Woodburn area. We are in the process of sizing a new tank for the La Vista area. There's 2 tanks there that predate 1940. They're functioning well, but they'll need to be replaced at some time. And then we are looking at a Hurleyville tank, an additional tank to the 350,000 gallon tank, because we have some repairs that we have to make to that tank, but we can't lower the water in the tank to make the repairs because we need the water in the tank. So we have no way to make those repairs. So, having said all of that, I expect everybody to remember what I said and recite the first one that I started. But thank you for allowing me to come to present that. There is a lot going on. As I said, you got a great staff. The town has been very proactive in their efforts to help and replace some of the aging infrastructure that we have.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd like to, again, thank our staff, Ken, Helen Budrock, Jen. We've had a lot of meetings trying to get state, federal monies to help us with our infrastructure programs. We've struggled a lot, unfortunately, trying to get money specifically for our water and water main replacements because our town staff, you have to give them credit, we haven't really had any major contaminants or violations in our system, because when we've had issues with different wells, we've shut them down and figured out a way to work around it. So it's unfortunate that we kind of have hit some brick walls with funding for water, but we've also had some success with, it looks like we should have some success with finding some more monies for both our highway barn and also some additional monies towards our sewer project. So I'm optimistic about that. We've had several meetings a week to try to secure some of that money. So it's a lot of work for our staff, and I appreciate it. With that, thank you, Ken. Do we have any correspondence?
I do not.
Okay, citizens' comments.
I don't have anything on the list.
No?
Let me ask, Ken, or no?
Sure.
Thank you so much for that presentation, that's quite comprehensive.
There's a lot. Thank you.
So I have some concerns about package plants, which I know you're not really talking about here, but I do know that there's 9 in front of the planning board, and the one that's most active that I saw was Mount Sinai, which is, I don't know, 80 manufactured homes. So their draw is gonna be quite high. And so I'm just wondering, so having 9 draw on all the ones that you just talked about, I know we seem to have an infinite amount of water, but it just seems to me, won't that affect the groundwater of all the private wells around, as well as even these developments that are online and our wells? I just can't imagine that they won't be affected. So do we phase it so that we can see what happens? Okay, we've done this part, these people have come online, and then see what happens with the flow, and then add more, or is it just all come online and we'll just see what happens?
Well, I mean, that's a great question, and then there's a lot of data for all of what you're talking about. So the package plants are generally in areas where we don't have municipal sewer, right?
Right.
And so the town is not in charge of whether they get a package plant or don't get a package plant. They have a right to apply to the DEC for those package plants, and we are relying heavily on DEC to take a look at where those package plants discharge to, and the effluent, the quality of the effluent that comes out from the package plants, and how it affects our streams and eventually goes to the never sink or wherever it ends up. I review those plans as a town engineer just to make sure that all the I's are crossed and T's are dotted, but I don't have approval authority to say yes or no to that package plant. So I'm at the mercy of DEC when it comes to allowing them or not allowing them. But one of the reasons that I mentioned in the Davos area, we don't want any additional package plants where we could eventually develop more of a comprehensive plan and have one plan as opposed to 3 plants, or have developers into a municipal system as opposed to a private system. So we're conscious of that, and we think that's good stewards of what we're trying to do here with the environment. So it's a great question, but there's a lot packed in that.
And you feel that the monitoring for, okay, June, July, August, what actually got used versus what we estimated, you know, will we know, okay, so Loch Sheldrake, you know, Metro and Zimmerman and Westbourne Estates is all gonna come online and this summer, and maybe more. And so we'll actually see if our estimates have been correct. And then, but will you see enough detail to actually know what they've drawn?
Yeah, see, I know what each project design is intended to produce, right? And then I've gone further, I've done a study that I've analyzed 10 projects, and I know about the percentage that of the design that actually happens from those projects. Each project has a meter, way to measure that, and so I update my records every time these come online and reevaluate where our potential is for the Loch Shell treatment plant and its ability, in that case, in that area you're talking about. A lot of times pump stations are very helpful because you can record what's going through the pump
The draw.
stations.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just one more question. So in Westbourne Gardens, 4252, does each house have a meter, or is it just one meter for that whole thing?
We have a master meter at the beginning of the development, and we record what's going in there, but each house has a meter as well. So we record everything, and we check it against the master meter. And that's, again, another reason for these meters that we're trying to get, is that they're a full-time read. In other words, at any point in time, you can look on the dashboard and see what the meters are doing. And as opposed to now, we have to go physically out, and we can remotely read them, but you have to physically go out and read them. We won't have to with the new meters. So if there's a problem or something that is a discrepancy from what normal use would be, we're gonna catch it a lot sooner than what we're catching it now.
So we have meters, or we getting new meters?
We have a proposal in for new meters. We've received a proposal, and we're looking for some funding to help us because it's relatively expensive for new meters.
Right.
Really, like everything else, just the new meters is $1.5 million. So
Wow.
it's something that's, we need to do honestly, and it's gonna be beneficial as well, but you know, these numbers add up fast. These are big numbers, so.
It would catch the winter leaking too.
Yes.
You know, with broken pipes, because right now you can't really.
Right.
So to go a little bit further, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ken, with our current meters, we can read them remotely, but you physically have to go to the location of the meter, and then it's read, you don't have to walk up to it, it's read from the truck.
Right.
Now they're gonna be,
In a,
like a Wi-Fi
Computer system.
computer,
Yep.
so it's completely remote, we can monitor it all the time.
excellent.
But again, you know, we need $10 million plus for a highway bond, we need $12 million for these few water projects, $100 million, everything adds up. So we have a lot of need, and that's what we've tried to tell our state and federal representatives, help us, we're a poor community, and these are problems that we need to fix, and it's not easy to get money. So we've been working very hard. We've met with Schumer's office, we've met with Gillibrand's office, Paula Kay is trying to help us. So we're actively pursuing some help, but it's
4 meetings with the EFC.
4 meetings with the
In
EFC.
the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, we're putting a lot of work into trying to fix these problems that have, you know, existed in the town for many years and gotten worse over time, so.
Great,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yep. If that's it, we'll get into our agenda.
Can I ask Ken a question?
Absolutely.
So with the Avon wastewater treatment plant, remember there was this discussion with regarding Davos about hooking it to Mountaindale only because Avon is in the DRBC and there could be issues with our Speedy's permit with the South Fallsburg plant. I also remember reading in the preliminary engineering report about like putting building another one in Woodburn, but that would affect the Speedy's permit for the South Fallsburg plant.
Yes, that's exactly what happened with the South Fallsburg plan, why we eventually decided to add to that as opposed to the other treatment plant, because by the time we were gonna do another treatment plant, and then we were told by the DEC that they were gonna affect our effluent limits, we were gonna have a double project for hardly no benefit. And actually, in hindsight, the one on the vacant piece of property, we were thinking that that's where the prison flow could go to pull it away from South Fallsburg, and in hindsight, good thing we didn't do it,
Right.
because now there's no flow going there. Yeah.
So do you think that the DC or the DRBC would approve the Avon project then? If it flows into the Neversink and it could affect our speeds?
We wouldn't do the Avon project only because that's a little lagoon as well, and it's in bad shape. So in other words, you wouldn't put money back into the lagoon, because the next thing they'll do is change your effluent limits, which will then require you to have a full treatment plant. The project that we're talking about is Davos itself, which is a large development, and they have sewer needs. And so there's another plant that's up in Davos that is currently privately owned, And they are supposedly gonna be talking to that owner to purchase that plant for their needs. And then we have another project, Cambanza. They want to do a package plant, so we're trying to get them to work with the people from Davos to try to combine forces, and we'd love to get our flow out of Woodridge. So the three have a goal to be in one place, and I think with some further study and some conversation, I'm hoping we'll be successful in possibly changing that, renovating that plant that exists there now, because it's being used for the flow that's coming to it from the Davos that's been built.
So it's just an expansion, I guess, of what they have there.
And new technology, it's old technology, and I think DEC will also update the effluent limits from that.
Thank you.
I just have one more question. From the planning board the other night, there was an approval for Ellie Barzell and a company on, I thought it was the 1B well that he was putting $2 million into to bring up to speed. And I was just wondering, is that a town well? Do you know what I'm talking about?
That's one of the things on the list, that's Loch Sheldrake 1B. And that provides additional flow to the Hurleyville area, which Ellie's project is KJ Estates.
Right, which is on
And
Carmel.
that's been on hold due to water supply.
Right.
So that's the agreement, a second agreement where we have a public-private partnership that Ellie and his resources under our guidelines will do the work for developing that well and having it hooked in. It will save the town significant funds because we're not going out to bid with wage rate money. And in the process of that, he'll end up with water for his project.
And so the
Along
town will
with-
own that well, or he'll?
It'll be a town-controlled well, yep, along with all the facilities that he's putting in.
And so the extra water that he doesn't use will go to the
It
town?
goes to the town, and there's other developers that are
They
in
are.
line. Right,
They're waiting.
in line. But everyone will pay their proportional share for that work. It just happens that Ellie is willing to upfront the cost.
Okay.
Yep.
So can I jump on that question? Does that have to go to DRBC for water allocation?
It will, yep, because it's another well, so it's another well that gets added to our docket and approval process. The town's hydrogeologist, along with myself, will stay involved with the project because those dockets have to be updated, everything's gotta be recorded, DEC's gotta be involved. So it'll be like a municipal project, correct.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Wow, got all the answers.
So just for transparency and to be open with the public, I think it's important to have these questions answered. And because there's not many people here tonight, we have a relatively short agenda. I've obviously accommodated the questions, but there's going to be a time in the future where we have more on the agenda and more people in the public, and I'm not going to allow, it's not fair to have our meetings 3 or 4 hours, and Ken was here tonight, so, I'm glad we had this, so you have the information, but it's not going to be something that is going to be every meeting, so.
Great, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, with that, item 1 on the agenda, motion to approve town board minutes dated 2/4/26.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 2, motion to approve warrant 02A26 dated 2/10/26 in the amount of $2,201,479.43.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 3, motion to approve warrant 0226 dated 2/5/26 in the amount of $1,078,575.89.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Item 4, motion to approve warrant 12D25 dated 2/16/26 in the amount of $166,158.26.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 5, motion to approve payroll warrant dated 1/28/26 in the amount of $404,166.33.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 6, motion to approve payroll warrant dated 2/11/26 in the amount of $341,589.86.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 7, motion to accept the retirement of Kenny Newell from the Highway Department effective 2/13/26.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
8, motion to approve promotion of Chris Feldner to the position of operator trainee with the hourly rate of $28.88 per hour effective 2/23/26.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 9, motion to approve employment of Clinton Morton as working supervisor in the Highway Department with a yearly salary of $75,000 effective 2/17/26.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 10, motion to approve employment of Brendan Cooper as a skilled laborer in the Highway Department with an hourly rate of $19.47 an hour effective 2/17/26.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 11, I'd like to table, because we have, Mike has to abstain, we don't have enough. Put it on the agenda for next meeting. Good.
We'll probably have to change the date though.
Yeah,
We won't have enough time.
and not for anything, Woodridge already posted it in the newspaper.
So we'll have to change it. Mike can't vote, and there's only 3 of us here, so our hands are tied. Number 12, motion to schedule a public hearing for a zone change of 25 Jacobson Road, Hurleyville, section block, lot number 32A-1-20, from Ag Zone to HR for 3/18/26 at 6 p.m.
Motion.
All right. Looks like that one dies on the floor. Number 13, motion to approve a 30-day liquor license filing waiver for 1703 AD Golf LLC.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 14, motion to approve a 30-day liquor license filing waiver for Hasbrook Tavern LLC.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
15, resolution number 13 of 2026, approving a stipulation and authorizing a withdrawal and correction of municipal cleanup charge, 13 Astor Road, section block, lot number 12A-1-7.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I have nothing for executive session. Is there any?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you.